if upon my own studying of Islam and the studying of the example of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if I found him to be this murderous, instilling rape and pillage and warfare and spreading the religion by the sword, I wouldn't be Muslim today. And many Muslims that you see today would not be Muslims either. And not only that, Greg, but it would never become the fastest growing religion even in the West amongst academics, educated people.
So many into the West.
No, Greg.
People don't convert to Islam. Greg, Islam's coming in waves from
Greg,
Muslim countries.
what you find...
Because the Muslim countries are socially inadequate, they're technologically inadequate, and they're killing each other.
Greg,
the Islamic countries are a source of great tension, or not just tension, poverty, intellectual poverty, and financial poverty. So they're all fleeing to the West if they can. Syria, Iraq, they're all trying to flee to the West. And they don't make any apologies for this. So don't tell me that Islam's growing in the West because somehow Westerners are suddenly realising the importance of Islam.
You know why I find...
Islam's growing here because Muslims keep turning up at our doorstep.
Okay. So your notion of the reason why Islam is increasing in the West is effectively immigration,
correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
Now, why I find these discussions somewhat frustrating, though I like you, Greg. I do. You might think that you might think that I don't.
Give me a fact.
No. Okay, hold on a second. I will do.
Where is Islam creating new converts?
The reason why I find these discussions somewhat frustrating is I remember our last conversation, which was I gave you the Maury poll or the Gallup poll, which looked at converts, people who are converting to the religion, not those who've coming in as immigrants or refugees, right? And in that report, they said that the fastest growing religion in England was Islam. From 2001 to 2011, they cited more than 100,000 people in England converted to Islam. They found the average age. Hold on, let me just finish. Please, let me just finish. I'll deal with that. Most of these people, they found the most prominent facts that they found were that the average education level was postgraduate. These were educated people. Hold on a second. Well, look, you have to research this, right? And they found that actually the average age was 27. So these are young people, successful and educated.
Is postgraduate in 27.
Average. These are averages. Of course, you'll find extremes, right? Then you have a very interesting fact, which is that 72% of the converts happen to be women.
Say this with a straight face.
No.
Oh, yeah. And that's a surprise.
No, okay.
When Islam requires women to have to convert.
No, that's not true.
Oh, really?
I can marry a Jew. Well, I can't now because I'm already married. So, darling, if you see this video, I'm not going for number 2, right? We are permitted to marry the people of the book. So, a Jew, a Christian who is chaste, following their religion, we are allowed to marry them.
How many Christian women can marry a Muslim man without converting?
Many have.
Is that true?
Yes, that's true. If you go to Egypt, for example, if you go to Egypt, you'll find many Muslim men who have married Christian women, for example, because Egypt has a lot of Christians there.
I used to.
Well, it still does. It still does. Look, my point here, Greg, is this. For us to have a meaningful discussion and to hopefully arrive at the truth, we should at least, when I say these facts, rather than you not checking up on them and then just regurgitating a similar argument 6 months or 3 months down the road, please just go back and look at these facts. Talk to Muslim women, to white women, to non-Asian, non-Arab women, and say, sister, you know what, in humanity, well, she's your sister in humanity. Because even if you believe in evolution, she's a sister in... She's your sister in humanity, right? So say sister in humanity. Can I ask you, were you forced into this religion? Did you marry somebody and did they force you to convert to Islam? Why did you convert? Ask them. And you may be surprised at their answers.
So how many people do you think have been converted peaceably in the West from other religions to Islam? Not as immigration.
You'll be asking me to quantify that in terms of numbers.
You were just saying there's a poll that said 100,000 converted. Is that the number you're coming up with?
No, I think it's much higher than that.
Oh, really?
Because Darren, for example, who spoke to you last time, on all of his documentation, is still Darren. My wife, her name is still an English name. Most people retain their English or their European names because to change birth certificates, passports, and all of your certificates from university and what have you, it's problematic. So people may have a Muslim name, but it's amongst their friends or family perhaps, and they will retain their English name often for work or for all their documentation. But Greg, my point is this: look, it's very easy for us to be blinkered in our views about each other and pick out all the bad bits.
It's easy for me to find bad bits in Islam. Islam's full of bad bits.
But you'll find bad examples of people who profess to be Muslims. I will accept that. Just as you will find bad examples of people who profess to be humanists,
sure,
or secularists, or atheists.
But that sort of comparison is a false comparison, because it's like saying, oh, corruption exists in every country, therefore it's the same everywhere. It's not. Some countries are a lot more corrupt than others.
Yes,
likewise,
they are.
Some countries are a lot worse to be minority than others.
I agree with that.
To be minority in this country is quite benign. If you're a Muslim in this country, you're treated okay.
I agree with that.
If you're a Christian in Egypt at the moment, you're screwed. If you're a Christian in Iraq or Jordan, you're screwed. Because they're actively trying to eradicate Christianity.
Look, to deal with those things specifically would be disingenuous and I think dishonest of me, because you don't have the figures and I don't have the figures. We hear reports, we hear things, we hear about what's happening there. I would be the first person to condemn anyone who forces a Christian or a Jew or an atheist or anybody else to convert to Islam, because in the Quran Allah says very clearly that there is no compulsion in religion. That's a verse in the Quran. What does that mean? It means you can't force somebody. You can't compel them to follow. No, but listen.
Of course.
Now, Greg.
But then Islam doesn't follow that.
No.
Islam was spread by the sword, in which there was a definite.
No, but Greg, again, look.
ISIS, when they went around,
Greg,
they said you convert to Islam.
Well, it's a bad example because, as I said to you,
Islamic State's about
well, I think ISIS are a very bad example because the bulk of the victims of ISIS are Muslims themselves.
So what?
So what that means is clearly these people are not representing Islam. Because under any common sense, you would argue that a person who follows a particular religion...
They claim they go back to the source, they go back to the Quran, and they find justification in the Quran for what they do. They throw homosexuals off buildings because they say that's what I'm mandated either by the Quran or the Hadith to do.
Yes.
And would you deny that somewhere in the Quran or somewhere in the Hadith it talks about throwing homosexuals?
It doesn't say that.
High places.
It doesn't say that at all.
Well,
I guarantee you.
Okay.
I
will challenge you.
Please research that.
A £10 bet, because I'm going to go and research that right now.
Yeah, please do. I can't gamble. I can't gamble, Greg.
Because I'm going to go have coffee, but I'll come back. But I'm going to sit down and do my research.
Well, I have to leave, but maybe next week. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that. All right, Greg. Have a lovely day. Assalamu alaikum.